Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And in this video, I have a special message for a certain segment of the population. At the moment of this recording, many young people and their families are preparing for graduation. Whether it's from high school or college, it is very much a momentous occasion. And it should be celebrated. More so this year than previous years, if only because many of us are still recovering from the events of 2020. But I don't want to dwell too much on that. I actually already made a video speaking to that graduating class, highlighting the utterly unprecedented circumstances behind it. This time around, I want to offer a more traditional message to this year's graduating class. One that goes beyond just acknowledging the unique circumstances of this year and those leading up to it. Because, and this is just me speaking from my own experience, graduating high school did not adequately prepare me for the adult world. Yes, college did offer a bit more in that regard, but I still found myself struggling, and often stumbling around in the dark trying to figure things out. For most of my early 20s, I had to learn some harsh lessons about navigating the adult world. It led to more than a few frustrating moments, some of which I did not handle particularly well. And there were plenty of instances where my struggles held me back, both personally and professionally. I certainly wouldn't claim my struggles were greater than most. In fact, looking back on it, I was pretty lucky in terms of the opportunities I got after high school and college. And most students graduating this year probably won't have those opportunities, even if they need them far more than I did. It's a genuinely daunting prospect, entering the adult world at a time like this. Regardless of whether you're graduating from high school or college, the adult world can be so overwhelming. But we don't have the luxury of putting it off any longer. Like it or not, we all have to take that step. Some will stumble, some will thrive, and most will do plenty of both. But how do we even begin to make sense of it all? Well, this is where I come in. What follows is my own personal commencement speech to the class of 2022. And I genuinely hope that these lessons, insights, and understandings help as you prepare for this next big step in your life. Congratulations! You did it! You made it through high school. You made it through college. Today is one of those days that always seems so far off in the future, but it's finally here. You've reached the end of one major phase in your life, and now you're ready to take on the next. As you don your ceremonial gowns and prepare to receive your diplomas, take a moment to cherish this event. Don't lament on the past. Don't agonize over the future either. Focus on the here and now. You've earned this. You deserve it. Gather with friends, family, and loved ones. Celebrate this day. Make it a treasured memory, something you can take with you into the future. That's because no matter what anyone else tells you today, tomorrow, or a year from now, the future is uncertain. It always has been. It always will be. Every graduating class learns that in some form or another. How they learn it and how they go about it, that's unique to everyone. But, uncertain or not, you do have a say in how that future manifests. And after this very special day, that future will begin to take shape. Some of you already have a plan in place for that future. Some of you aren't at all sure of your plan. Some of you might not have even planned to be on this day. And that's okay. Everyone's circumstances are different, as are their perspectives, perceptions, and general opportunities. And regardless of how dedicated and disciplined you might be, plans often change. They have to because the world changes. It's always changing. And it'll keep changing with each passing year, often in ways you don't expect. But therein lies the heart of why this moment is so special. And it's also here where I hope to provide the best possible insight I can offer you. You may think that's disingenuous, seeing as how I just said that everyone's circumstances are different. As such, I can't possibly offer something that applies equally to everyone. However, I'm still going to try. And while I'm certain you'll all get plenty of advice and life lessons from others in the coming days, I do hope these words stand out. Because, regardless of your circumstances, there are a few simple truths worth acknowledging. Ideas that help put things into perspective. And here are just a few. 1. You're not kids anymore, but you're still young. That brings with it plenty of advantages and disadvantages. And sometimes you have to embrace both in order to grow. 2. Nobody truly knows the path that's best for you. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, and loved ones, they may have some idea, but they can never truly see the bigger picture that is your future. Only you can do that. 3. You aren't done growing. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally, and certainly not in terms of skills and knowledge. What you've learned during your time here will help. But no matter how well you did in school, you're never done learning. And you should never miss an opportunity to learn more. 4. Don't let your greatest mistakes define you. And the same also goes for your successes. Again, you're all still young. You haven't been on this planet long enough to succeed or fail in a way that will forever define you. The road ahead of you is far longer than the road behind you. Focus on that, while also not forgetting where you came from. 5, and this might be the most important, your perspective will change. Time, experience, failure, success, triumphs, and tragedy, it all affects you, often in ways you can never prepare for. The thoughts, feelings, and sentiments you have now will not be exactly the same as they are 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or even 6 months from now. Even if they don't change that much, they will change. And you should embrace that change. We all do ourselves a disservice by clinging to the past, be it good or bad. But it's just as damaging to forget it completely. All too often, we're tempted to do one or the other, thinking that everything we do has to be absolute and definitive. Because even when the world around us seems so black and white, we all eventually come to realize the vast shades of gray that define it. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's scary and overwhelming. And yes, it may feel like you can't handle it. But you can. I know you can. You all made it through these past 2 years. 2 very difficult, world-changing years that will likely find their way into history books, and for all the wrong reasons. Having dealt with that, I believe you can handle whatever the future throws at you. But how well you handle it, that's up to you. Some of the lessons you'll learn can only ever be learned through trial, failure, and the benefit of hindsight. But for others, you can be proactive. You can even learn them right here, right now, while still celebrating this wondrous day. Start by simply broadening your perspective. Make a concerted effort to see the forest from the trees. That's not easy to do when you're so young, having only ever noticed the trees to this point. But it's worth doing, if only because it puts every choice and opportunity in context. What you do one day can resonate beyond the next week, the next month, the next year, or even the next decade. Not every decision will be that vast, but in their collective totality, it helps you understand where you came from, as well as where you're going. With that perspective, the next best thing you can do is simply learn from your mistakes. Yes, that's easier said than done. I'm sure parents, teachers, and counselors alike have all tried to instill that in you for much of your youth. But make no mistake, it's more than just good advice. It is a huge byproduct of vast life experiences. Because you will make mistakes. You will fail, mess up, and face grueling setbacks. But the worst thing you can do when you face these moments is not learn from them. Believe it or not, failure will often be your greatest teacher. And if you're truly willing to learn, you'll even find the seeds of success in the ruins of such failure. But if there's one life lesson I know can help every one of you, regardless of your path or circumstances, it's this. Know the value of personal connections. Because it doesn't matter how strong, smart, or capable you might be. We still share this planet with millions, billions of other human beings. Like you, they're all trying to navigate this vast sea of chaos and uncertainty. We can only ever do so much on our own. But together, collectively, what we can achieve is truly astounding. And that goes beyond just making friends and finding lovers. Simple personal connections through work, play, hobbies, and passions, they often contain some of the most fruitful opportunities you'll ever come across. You won't be able to measure that all in terms of money or success, although you'll find that does make a difference in the long run. But years from now, when you take a step back, you'll come to appreciate the true worth of those connections. Now, there's so much more advice I could offer you today. Be careful, but don't be afraid to take chances. Be frugal, but don't be afraid to enjoy short-term losses in exchange for long-term gains. And even if it's not your primary goal, make as much money as you can. Few will tell you, but most will concede that things are a lot easier when you have money. But no matter what insights I give, at the end of the day, the choice is still yours. You know who you are. You know your hopes, dreams, and capabilities. You spent much of your lives as children cultivating the person you are right now. And it's time to fully embrace that person. Now, you're still not done growing, and you never will be. But you're not children anymore. You're all officially ready to enter the next phase of your lives. You're ready to enter a larger, broader world. No matter how chaotic or crazy it seems, it's a world worth embracing. There's so much out there to explore and experience. How you go about it, where it takes you, and why you do it, well, that's all up to you. So, with that, I'll close by saying, thank you, class of 2022. Take care, stay safe, and whatever comes next for you, I wish you the absolute best.